In this video, we'll discuss fluids you should be drinking. Water will always be the gold standard beverage of choice. Remember, your body is composed of nearly 70% water. However, drinking nothing but water can be boring and even a turnoff from drinking at all. Fortunately, plenty of other beverages work great. That's because they're largely composed of water. Additional options include low-fat milk, coffee, tea, diet sodas, calorie-free flavorings, and add-ins. Yes, you heard me correctly. Coffee is a helpful hydrating beverage and will not dehydrate you, so long as you're consuming enough fluids throughout the day, of course. I suggest steering clear from high-sugar beverages, such as regular soda, lemonade, sweet tea, and juice as often as possible. Not only may these options cause a spike and crash in energy levels and contribute unnecessary calories to your day, but they also may dehydrate you. To digest the large amount of sugar found in these drinks, your body needs additional fluids. So it taps into the water stores throughout your body and ultimately lowers your body's total water content. Plus, if you're dieting, you shouldn't be drinking your calories. Save them for filling, high-fiber fare instead. There's a time and place for certain sugary beverages, but more on that in a bit. If most of your fluids come from those listed above, you'll be in great shape. Next, let's discuss simple strategies to help you meet your daily hydration goal. In this video, we'll discuss simple strategies to enhance your hydration habits. Okay, at this point, you're a bit stressed about your hydration. Perfectly understandable. For many of you, you're probably well under the amount I recommended. But guess what? That's totally okay. There are a few simple tweaks you can make in your day that will send your daily hydration, energy, and performance skyrocketing. Seriously, do it. Drink 12 to 16 ounces when you get up in the morning. I suggest working it into your morning routine after using the restroom and before brushing your teeth. If you start each meal with 12 to 16 ounces of water, you're going to drastically increase your fluid intake without having to set another reminder throughout the day. Before you pick up your utensil, be sure to pick up a cup of water. Invest in a water bottle, and then carry it everywhere you go. Bring it with you in your car. Keep it with you at your desk. Have it on hand at meetings, and keep it close by the couch. Anywhere you go, the bottle should follow. This will ensure it's always in sight, which increases the likelihood you will actually hydrate. I also recommend purchasing one that holds at least 24 ounces. This will reduce the number of times you need to fill it up during the day, which can be a turnoff sometimes, especially if the nearest fountain is far. Making these subtle changes to your day can add upwards of 50 total fluid ounces. Talk about a major return on investment. Next, let's discuss the profound impact exercise has on your fluid needs. In this video, we'll discuss the consequences of dehydration. You now know how and why dehydration wreaks havoc on your day. It zaps energy and rids any bit of focus you thought you had. But it also takes a toll on your exercise performance. And sure, you probably know this much, but a study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, Nutrition, and Metabolism tested the hydration status of over 300 people as they walked into the gym. They found that more than 40% were dehydrated, and that many reported they felt hydrated despite the test showing otherwise. Had a dehydrated state become their new normal? I sure hope not, because the effect on exercise is detrimental, to say the least. Exercise-related consequences of dehydration include decreases in strength, speed, and power, decreases in focus, coordination, and balance, a slower reaction time, and increased risk of cramps, headaches, nausea, and lightheadedness. Needless to say, you're not setting any records in the gym in that state. And you're certainly not optimizing muscle growth either. If you constantly feel awful during your workouts, you're less likely to work out consistently, which doesn't bode well for any weight maintenance or loss goals that you may have. And we cannot forget that you're losing fluids via sweat during your workout. Entering a workout dehydrated will only further compound these consequences. So, how do you avoid the plague-like feeling of dehydration as you head into your workout? By drinking more, of course. But there's more to optimal hydration than just water. We'll talk about that next. In this video, we'll discuss the role of electrolytes. The word hydration can be defined as the process of causing something to absorb water. But for your body to absorb, retain, and use that water, you need a few more key players. To achieve a state of optimal hydration, you need to ensure that you have plenty of electrolytes readily available. Electrolytes help to absorb, retain, and transport water where it is needed throughout your body. The major electrolytes found within the body include the following: sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and chloride. We are going to focus on sodium and potassium though. Why? Both sodium and potassium are lost in large amounts when you sweat. And this is no bueno, considering both are essential and play major roles in your body. Sodium and potassium molecules each attract water, which is advantageous in regulating optimal fluid balance inside and outside of the cells in your body. Sodium also plays an integral role in maintaining blood volume and retaining fluid elsewhere throughout your body. Potassium plays a major role in muscle contraction and nervous system communication. So, you see, both are pretty darn important, especially for keeping you well hydrated and performing fine during your workout. Fortunately, each mineral is most likely plentiful in your diet. Sodium can be found in all canned products. Think beans, veggies, and soups, as well as bread, dairy, pretzels, whole grain crackers, and of course, table salt. Potassium is abundant in many fruits and vegetables, especially, wait for it, bananas, as well as oranges, potatoes, and avocados. Aren't you glad I said banana? I digress. Sports drinks are also a great source of sodium and potassium. And regularly incorporating some of the foods above will help ensure you're maintaining optimal hydration levels throughout the day. Of course, make sure you're drinking enough fluid too. And don't sweat the sodium intake. If your doctor has never explicitly told you to restrict sodium, and you don't have a history of high blood pressure or other health complications, your body is more than capable of using what it needs and excreting what it does not. Next, a quick message for you salty sweaters. In this video, I'll share a quick message for the salty sweater. If you've ever noticed a white film on your clothes, particularly around your armpits, neckline, or on the brim of your hat, that's an indication that you're a salty sweater. This means you lose more sodium in your sweat than the average person. This isn't a bad thing, but it's something you should be aware of. If you notice you're a salty sweater, replenishing sodium is of even greater importance. This means you should be adding salt to most meals and choosing an electrolyte-containing sports drink during exercise. This will help to prevent experiencing the dreaded muscle cramps. But even if you're not a heavy, salty sweater, you need to be aware of the cause of muscle cramps and what you can do to minimize their occurrence. We'll talk about those next. In this video, we'll discuss the potential causes of your muscle cramps. A muscle cramp is no joke. It's a painful, spasmodic, involuntary muscle contraction that occurs during or immediately after exercise. You've probably been told to stretch it out or to eat a banana to help alleviate these cramps. And although those recommendations are well intended, there are several factors that may lead to a muscle cramp that you need to be aware of. Your first thought is probably something like this: duh, not drinking enough water or being low on electrolytes is the reason for my muscle cramps. And I don't disagree, but it may not be the only reason. Muscle cramps are often very localized, typically in your calves or hamstrings. However, substantial research exists comparing the electrolyte levels of crampers and non-crampers in several exercising populations that shows no significant difference between electrolyte levels among the subjects. Curious indeed. Another hypothesis as to the reason for the onset of a muscle cramp is a combination of localized fatigue and a neurological reflexive action. Basically, this hypothesis states that as fatigue accumulates in a muscle, a reflexive reaction occurs, which triggers the spasmodic, involuntary muscle contraction. So, maybe it's related to plain old fatigue. And lastly, cramps have been shown to occur when muscle glycogen levels are very low. So how can you surmount a defense against all of the possible reasons for a muscle cramp? Well, for one, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. 2, make sure you're taking in plenty of electrolytes throughout your diet and consider adding an electrolyte supplement to your workout beverage. 3, make sure you're taking in enough carbohydrates throughout the day. And 4, exercise consistently so you remain well conditioned to tackle your upcoming exercise sessions. Next, we'll discuss how to properly hydrate leading up to your workout.